pause of YouTube, happy Tuesday to all my hackers out there. Hopefully y'all are having a good day today. And today's battle is going to be against Jacob from MrNintendoFanMan, a very good friend of mine. His channel link will be down in the description, so please make sure to go check him out. And this is actually just another RU battle. I know I've been bringing you a lot of those lately, but I have been trying to get back into UU and OU, so hopefully I can bring some of those. Apologies. So he's going to be leading off with the Magneton, as I'm going to be leading off with my Crustle. Now obviously I know I can take a Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, or Flash Cannon. One, because I'm in sturdy range, and two, because I am heavily specially defensive, so I can get up a free layer of spikes. Now I bet you're wondering, why didn't I go for the rocks? Well, from the team preview I saw that the only thing he really had weak to rocks was Aerodactyl, so I knew spikes would be a more beneficial play for me in the long run. As he switches out to Quillfish, now because he brought in Quillfish on my Crustle, I'm obviously going to be fearing him to have the taunt, so I'm going to switch out into my Rotom because I can just really go for a Volt Switch because he does not have a ground type, and I will be able to get switch initiative on whatever he wants to switch out into. As he went for the Scald, luckily for me he did not burn me, so this turn I know he's possibly going to switch out, and if he wants to stay in I can hopefully KO the Quillfish, which means Quillfish one problem will be out of the way. But he does opt to switch out to Spiritomb, as I'm going to switch out to my Clefable. Now switching out to my Clefable possibly could have been a bit risky because he could have been the Rest Talk Calm Mind Dark Pulse variant of Spiritomb, which I have seen a lot lately, and that set is definitely dangerous. But since he did switch out this turn, I know he's more of a wall supportive set, so I don't have to worry about Calm Mind, as I managed to Toxic the Gallade, which is just great because now I will be able to switch out and be able to take a hit and then be able to hopefully Toxic Stall him a bit. But he actually makes a good prediction, switches out to his Magneton, sorry I forgot the name of that, obviously thinking I will switch out to Alomomola. So this turn I don't want to take any unnecessary damage on my Medicham, so I'm actually going to switch out into my Crustle to take the more than likely Volt Switch. But he actually ends up switching himself, which has me thinking he's probably not Scarf and more than likely Specs. So since he did bring in Spiritomb, I know I can freely get up my rocks. Now I know I said Spikes would have been more beneficial for me in the long run, but I remembered the Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl could have proven to be a bit of a nuisance to me, so I knew getting up the rocks and breaking its possible sash was the better play I could have done. As this turn I can get up my second layer of spikes, which is just great because he's going to opt to switch out to Sceptile. Now keep this in mind, his Sceptile is not max attack, nor is it max special attack. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have not drunk Sunny D. This is unprofessional of me. But yeah, he actually ends up going for the Grass Gem boosted Giga Drain. Now, because he had the Grass Gem, I know he has Unburden, and here I completely forgot about it, and I went out to my Rotom. Luckily, since he's not fully physically invested, I can take 3 of those and just go for 200 power fires and easily take out the Sceptile. At least that's what I was thinking and hoping, but he ends up getting another crit. Now I don't know if the crit on my Crustle mattered, but that crit on my Rotom did, because as you saw how much damage it did, I could have taken another one and killed off the Sceptile. As this turn I'm going to be forced to switch out into my Clefable because it's basically the only thing I have to deal with this Sceptile. So I guess he doesn't have the Focus Blast because he just keeps going for Giga Drain, and as you saw I did miss my first Toxic, so I am going to be forced to go for it again. As next turn I'm going to reveal that I do have the soft mode over the Wish and Protect, which he now realizes that I'm obviously going to Toxic Stall him, so he's going to make a good switch out into his Gallade. But luckily, since I was at a high enough amount of HP where I can easily take at least 4 more Giga Drains, I can just really go for a Seismic Toss on the Sceptile, but he did opt to switch out to Gallade, as I said. Now since Gallade don't have the best HP around, that Seismic Toss does a very huge chunk of damage. As this turn I'm going to switch out into my Alomomola, knowing solely since I do have rocks and spikes up, he's not going to want to risk losing Gallade on the switch in and dying off to the rocks and spikes. So I know he was either going to go for the Drain Punch or the Close Combat. Obviously Close Combat because I already saw that, but whatever, that's besides the point. No, I didn't see Close Combat already. Oh my god, what am I doing? Sorry. So I know I can take another Close Combat and get off a Wish. Now I bet you're wondering, why didn't I go for Protect? Well, I didn't go for Protect because going for the Wish, then protecting on whatever he wants to bring in and scattering out to see what he wants to do was the better play I could have done, because he's actually going to switch out into his Magneton this turn after the Gallade does die off, and on the off chance that he is a Specs variant, I can scout to see what he wants to lock himself into, as he actually ends up going for the Thunderbolt. Now here's where I get off my Wish, so really going for the Wish was the better play in the long run, because I would have been forced to switch out to something to take a hit. Then he possibly could have got Switch Initiative if he did go for the Volt Switch. So this turn I know my Clefable can easily take a Thunderbolt, maybe be able to take 3 depending on if he is like Specs or Analytic. I don't know if I could be able to take 3, maybe 1, but he actually ends up getting a crit. Now, judging for how much damage that is, I know he's not Specs, so he's more than likely Eviolite, because if he was Analytic with Thunderbolt and Specs, then that thing would have just one-hit killed my Clefable. So yeah, basically he's gotten 3 crits already on me. So I'm going to switch on to my Hitmonchan, and I know for a fact he's going to be fearing the close combat, so I'm actually going to make a risky double switch out into my Alomomola on the off chance that if he did switch out himself to Spiritomb, my Alomomola would have been the best switch-in I had to counter or to deal with the Spiritomb, as he actually ended up switching out to Quillfish. Now, knowing Quillfish really can't touch my Alomomola, I'm not going to be fearing the Scald. I know he might go for a Toxic or a Thunder Wave possibly, but he actually ends up going for the Spikes, and luckily for me, he did not go for the Thunder Wave, which is just amazing because now I don't have to worry about my Medicham being paralyzed. And this turn, the Zen Headbutt is very, very obvious, so I'm actually going to lock myself into Thunder Punch. Now, this Medicham is Choice Banded, Adamant with huge power. This thing rapes little children's lives. This thing is, oh my god, it's disgustingly powerful. That's basically the best way I can put it. And here I actually pay him back for the crit on my Crustle and on my Rotom and on my Clefable, and I end up getting my own crit on the Magnum Ton. Sorry, I keep forgetting the name of that thing. So this turn, he switches out to Spiritomb. Now obviously I know Spiritomb can learn Pursuit, so I'm not going to want to switch out. And if he wants to go for the Shadow Sneak, or if he wants to go for the Sucker Punch, I can easily live one and then KO the Spiritomb. But yeah, so I managed to KO. So this turn he switches out into Aerodactyl. Now obviously because of the name, I am going to be fearing the Aerial Ace. I don't know why, but maybe he could carry it, you never know. So I'm going to switch out to my Alomomola as he actually ends up going for the Earthquake, which automatically tells me, well, hey, he doesn't have Aerial Ace. But I'm basically in a pretty good situation at this point. Now, I know a Scald coming from Alomomola would not be able to kill the Aerodactyl just because Alomomola has no existing special attack whatsoever. So this turn I'm just going to go for another Scald, obviously fearing that he will go for Taunt. Now if he did carry the Taunt, I don't know why he didn't go for it, because as you'll see, if he had gone for the Taunt, it possibly could have benefited him better in the long run, as I'm just able to take the Aerodactyl. So I managed to make a comeback because of my Choice Banded Medicham, which is just great, as he's just down to a Sceptile. Now this is where if he had taunted me, I would have not been able to go for the Protect, and I would have been forced to either switch out into my Medicham or my Hitmonchan. Now keep in mind, this Sceptile has Giga Drain and Acrobatics. Acrobatics obviously rapes Hitmonchan and Medicham, and Giga Drain makes Alomomola its bitch. So I'm going to be forced to switch out into my Medicham just because it is the Pokemon that has the less HP on my team. I know he will not be getting back that much from it. So yeah, switching out to Medicham in that prior situation was the best move I could have done. Now judging for how much damage the Toxic is racking up, I know he's not going to get enough HP from this Giga Drain to live at least 2 more turns. So now I can freely switch out to my Hitmonchan, knowing that if he goes for an Acrobatics, he will die off to the Toxic. And if he goes for a Giga Drain, I can easily live 1 Giga Drain just because he's not in Overgrow range, because he does have Unburden, and I will be able to kill the Sceptile with the Ice Punch, and he does opt to go for the Giga Drain, which means this battle is going to be a victory for me, 2-0 in my favor. So yeah, very good, very close game. Jacob beat that. It was only because he got crits on me. It was still a very fun game nonetheless. But yeah guys, as I said, please make sure to go check him out. Him and Alex, which run the channel together, do upload a bunch of variety of videos, so hopefully you guys will like that. And he actually is going to start uploading battles again because he finally got some on the stream that he was doing. So with that guys, the like button is down there and the subscribe button is up there. I also have some stuff that I'm going to leave in the description, so please make sure to go read that. And yeah, leave a comment guys, please. I like reading your guys' comments. It puts a smile on my face, unless it's a mean comment, then it makes me sad. But yeah, with that, I'm just rambling, and I hate people who ramble on after a battle. So yeah, later.